for the World Cup. The likes of Elisha Owusu, Baba Rahman injured, Daniel Che also injured, Danlad Ibrahim, the goalkeeper of Kotoko, Baba Idrisu, he plays in Spain, Alidou Seydou also plays in France, he's also injured. So these are the absentees. But I think we've got 3 new players in there. Ashimeru, I also spoke about Ashimeru, and there was one guy I spoke about, Joseph Pinsel, and then there's a third person.
Ransford Yeboah.
Ransford Yeboah has been in the team.
Kamal was in the World Cup. He was in the World Cup.
Those who went to the World Cup, who didn't go to the World Cup.
Yeah.
Ransford Yeboah Kenneth Duffer did not go to the World Cup.
He didn't go. Yeah. Okay, so
he has replaced Daniel Kofichire in the team. And there was also Edmond Addo.
Patrick Kpozo.
He replaced Baba Rahman.
Patrick Kpozo.
And then Patrick Kpozo.
Then there's also Edmond Addo as well.
Okay. All right. Yeah. Now, the General Secretary of the Ghana Football Association, Prosper Harrison Addo, has been speaking against media talk that the Ghana Football Association influences the selection of players for the coaches. He says it does not happen, and that perspective being created by the media is rather unfortunate.
Basically, the argument put up was that even if Baba Rahman is the best player in the world, if Chris Hughton had called him, it means somebody had imposed him. This is the argument. But how can you make such an argument? It means that as far as we are concerned, Baba Rahman is not fit to play the Blasters or be called, even if he's doing well. Even if. How can we make that statement?
Who has said that?
You see, some of the arguments, we forget that, look, we leave the coach to make a selection. We can make comments about it that, having watched matches, having followed from maybe the past few weeks, I would have called this player. There's nothing wrong with it. Nobody will be annoyed with that. But when you say that because there's a player there you don't like, or there's a player who is not in the list, who you would have brought into the list, then there's something sinister being done. And then again, we go to the general term, the GFA. The GFA is made up of human beings. So when you insult the GFA, you are insulting the human beings. You can't then turn around and then pretend that the human beings there are your friend. Look, last week, a word like visionless was used for the GFA. So I'm asking myself, is namely saying that me, Prosper Harrison Addo, I'm visionless? Because he cannot tell me that.
I cannot tell you that.
Who in the FA is visionless? When you use set words on the GFA, let me even break it down. The FA is a limited by guarantee company, owned by all the clubs in the Premier League Division 1. In fact, every club in Ghana, the referees, the players. Yeah. And so when you say visionless FA, you are insulting everybody, from Otunfo down to the lowest player, because we form the FA. So when you insult the general, you insult everybody in the subset. And that is why we have to be careful when we are talking.
A lot of Bournemouth football and the way they play and stuff like this that can be really uncomfortable for each team. And only the last one against Arsenal.
Sorry about that. So earlier on you heard Prosper Harrison Addo, and he has been giving reasons why it's not true. I mean, he's been defending the fact that the GFA does not influence player selection to the Black Stars. Now he goes on to say, to add this to it, he spoke on City FM yesterday.
Seriously, you see, the FA, when a coach makes a selection, we all say that Chris Hughton. I was coming and I heard you. The Chris Hughton squad. Nobody mentions Boateng. Nobody mentions Didi. Okay, but there's a process. No single person, what the president said, no one person, the head coach alone doesn't make the squad. If he discusses it with his team, and then they will bring the list. They will present it to the management committee. If there are questions, they will ask. And then the list will be prepared and come out. Nobody imposes any player on a coach.
So what's Ika like?
Please, on this show, people have suggested names. On this show, people have suggested names. If you are making the squad, it might not be the same as this squad. Qual's squad will be different. My squad may be different. His will be different. Maybe. But this is Chris Hughton and his team. This is their squad. They have presented their squad. Without facts and without knowing that somebody has put any player there, then you come and sit on public radio and say emphatically that the president of the FA makes a squad. You said on this radio that, you were waiting to see Baba Rahman in the team. So if Chris Hughton has mentioned Baba Rahman, then it was somebody who gave Baba Rahman to him.
All right, so that was the General Secretary of the Ghana Football Association, Prosper Harris Senado. But let me just remind you that our special guest for the show this morning is the Director General of the National Sports Authority, Professor Peter Chumesi. He'll be joining us in the studios very, very soon. But Fee, before even we get to, the discussion on influence of selection here and there, whether it's true or not, I just want us to take a look at the list and if you can go through the squad for our listeners to hear.
Thank you very much, Della. So the 23-man squad from the coaching technical team led by head coach Chris Hughton, goalkeepers Lawrence Atisi Ginson, Garland, Abdul Manaf Nuruddin, Cash Yupin, Jojo Wollacott or Joseph Wollacott, Charlton Athletic, defenders Tariq Lamptey, Brighton and Hove Albion, Dennis Ode, Club Brugge, Gideon Mensah of AJ Auxerre, Patrick Kpozo of Sheriff Tiraspol, Daniel Amati.
Patrick Kpozo.
Okay, Kpozo. Thank you very much. Daniel Amati, Leicester City, Joseph Eidu, Celta Vigo, Mohamed Salisu, Southampton, Alexander Jiku of Strasbourg, midfielders Thomas Partey of Arsenal, Majeed Ashimeru of Anderlecht, Abdul Salis Samed of RC Lyon, Edmond Adu of Subatica. Then the wingers, Jordan Ayew, Crystal Palace, Osman Bukhari, Red Star Belgrade, Joseph Pinsel of Genk, Kamaldeen Sulemana, Southampton, Ransford Yeboah, Kennersdorfer. He plays in the German Bundesliga 2 of Hamburger SC. Forwards are Mohamed Kudus, Ajax Amsterdam, Andre Dede Ayew, Nottingham Forest, Kamal Sowa, Club Brugge, Inaki Williams, Celtic, Athletic Bilbao, and Antoine Semenyo of AFC Bournemouth.
Okay, so that's the first squad for Chris Hughton as he prepares the Ghana team against Angola. Is he in town now?
Chris?
Yeah.
I hear that there will be some unveiling in Kumasi somewhere next week.
Unveiling in Kumasi? That's
what you are picking.
Okay. Yeah. So the unveiling will be done in Kumasi now?
Yeah.
Okay, all right. But you don't know whether he's in town or not? Because I'm not aware whether he's in town.
No. I mean, we know that he's wrapping up his father's funeral rites.
Oh, but they've done that already?
Yes, so he's just
last week.
wrapping up, saying thank you to everybody that supported him in England, and he'll fly to Ghana.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. All right. So that's the squad. Any surprises in there or any inclusion that you think that makes, good seeing? Any of the new guys in there, Joseph Pinsel, for instance, the likes of Majeed Ashimeru also in there. Edmond Ado is back.
Yeah.
After a long while.
Chris Hughton has done what he ought to have done. No drama, no fear whatsoever, little to no drama. That is exactly what he should have done. I expected all of these players to be in there. I think there is nobody that's...
Jeffrey Schlupp is still missing.
Jeffrey Schlupp's position, I think that Jeffrey Schlupp doesn't really give us exactly what he gives Crystal Palace when he comes to Ghana. So for me, I was never one of the people clamoring for Jeff to join our squad. I think Patrick Kpozo has shown very well in the games that he has played in the UEFA Europa League very well for Sheriff Tiraspol. He has been very, very solid at fullback. He was very good over on Thursday when he played again. Somebody like Kamal Sowa was very, very good in the Champions League group stage. He scored a lot of goals for Club Brugge. Joseph Pinsel, he is Ghana's most informed, apart from Mohamed Kudus, winger in Europe. He has 10 plus goals and assists. Both of them. He's playing very, very well in his club. Majeed Ashimeru adds something more to the midfield that we have, apart from Partey and Salis Abdul Samed. He is a much more pressing number 8, so he gives us a different dynamic in the middle of the park. I only wondered why Edmond Ado was in the team. If Amati can somewhat play as a DM, if Partey can play as a DM, if Salis Abdul Samed can play as a DM. I was thinking that with the spot of Edmond Ado, maybe another player of a different profile could have been invited.
Offensive-minded?
Yes, maybe offensive, but then that is still fine. Thinking that maybe we can play in a 3-back and Amati can play in defense. Maybe that's the reason why he went in there. So I think generally we are good. If you look at our attacking line and from our wingers to forwards, I think we have some very, very good depth in quality. If you look at someone like Jordan Ayew, that is quality. Osman Bukhari is quality for Red Star Belgrade. There is Joseph Pinsel, quality for Genk, Kamaldeen Sulemana, Southampton. Mohamed Kudus, I think he's the most informed Ghanaian player in Europe. He scores a lot of goals in the Champions League, in the Eredivisie, and what have you. Andre Dede Ayew, yes, he hasn't given enough goals for his club side outside until he left to Nottingham Forest not good enough. But then I think that for Andrew Ayew, his inclusion in the Black Stars is not for footballing reasons. It's because he's the captain of the side, and I think that sometimes we need experience. So whilst he's not giving us the numbers, I think that Andrea is very, very important.
What did you say?
Not for footballing.
For what?
Something more than football.
But let's wait for the coach to defend his squad and tell us why he invited some of them before we start speculating.
You asked me to try and think for the coach more.
Oh, yeah. Okay. So you are thinking for the coach now? Yeah. Okay. All right. I hear. But Javier, you heard the General Secretary of the FA says that they don't influence player selection, so that discussion should stop.
Oh, I didn't say it. It was Sika Akono who said it. Sika Akono, you know Sika Akono.